Good evening. This is the Popper Scan video for Buy Sell Short for Wednesday, January 4th. Let's see what tomorrow's winners are going to be. We're going to start off today with CFW. Got a couple of these little cheapy penny plays only because we saw a couple of garbage ones go up big today. ENER, which we jumped into in the chat room, 22 cents, hit almost 30 cents. DSTI 24 to 30 cents. So some movement in those stocks. It was sector related, obviously driven by the solar runs in WEST and ASTI. First up, we've got CFW. I don't know the whole story behind this. I haven't really looked at the research on it. I remembered they had some really bad news, but the stock got a positive MACD cross today. The chart indicators look decent, and if traders are looking for an energy play and a penny play tomorrow, this could be one of them. It's got resistance at the 50-day moving average, but a breakthrough 10 cents could possibly take it up here to the 14, 18 cent area. So definitely keep an eye on this one, especially if it gets some pretty good volume and you see chatter on the chat rooms and message boards with regards to this one. Also, the Iran news, with the saber rattling continue to go on and oil getting close to a triple top breakout. That could mean that we need to keep a closer eye on these small oil and energy plays and alternative energy stocks over the next couple of weeks, just in case anything does happen. That is a sector that will benefit. GSX has been on it a couple of times. Chart continues to hold up really, really well. It's got pretty strong resistance overhead. If we look at a one-year chart just to get a better idea, you can see 30 cents is really what would probably light this stock up. So it's sort of in no man's land territory. You could probably trade it intraday for a couple of pennies, but sort of a clouded chart at the moment. MVIS, tick tick boom, hopefully is coming on this stock. Breakout is 40 cents. Target 45 to the 50-day moving average right now at 50 cents. The CES show starts next weekend, the 9th or 10th of January. The stock ran 40%, I believe, running into that meeting last year. Always get some sort of rumors going into the CES show. They are there again this year. Beaten down penny stock play. They already did refinancing. Indicators are coiling up, so definitely one to keep an eye on. A breakthrough 40 cents will probably, especially if it's on volume, bring a nice little pop on this stock. ACPW, alternative energy play. We continue to wait for that breakout, 75 cents. Target is 90 cents. If I entered on a 75 cents break, 70 to 72 cents would be my stops on this play. URRE is the first of actually a few uranium stocks on the Popper Scan tonight. Got all the way up to the 20-day exponential. Next breakout is that 85, 86 cent level, which could give a move to 95 cents. It did get a positive MACD cross today. Stochastics are coming out of the basement and look good, and other stocks in the sector are starting to do pretty well, so definitely one to keep a really close eye on. Now, if you're in this one, where would you place stops? Low of the day today was 77 cents, so that is where I would place my stops on this stock from our entry the yesterday. FCEL, another alternative energy stock to keep an eye on. 95, 96 cents will give a move to that 1 to 110 area. An entry on a 95, 96 cent break, I would place my stops at the 20-day exponential at 91 cents is how I would go about that. OXGN, this is one we've had to watch for quite a while. Nothing really jumping out on the chart, except it hasn't had a spike in a while. This is a stock over the last month or so. It's had 1, 2, 4 nice 10 to 20% pops. Target would be a move to 113. 97 cent stops. Again, probably would be news that would drive this one, so definitely keep an eye on it, especially if volume comes in. When volume comes in on this stock, it really likes to go on big runs, so definitely one to keep on the radar for the next couple of days. GBG, the gold play, slow crawler, close towards the high of the day, Probably looking at 115 as next target on this one if you're riding it up. Stops right now, I would place stops probably 103 if I continue to hold the stock from the breakout entry today. IVAN. We actually jumped into this one in the chat room, 116 to 120 today on the breakout. Closed pretty strongly, and again, you know, energy stocks with all the crap going on over in the Gulf have really started to catch some nice bidders over the last week or so. Next target, 137 and then 146. So let's see if this one can pull a move like RAM did. If you're in the stock right now, stops I would trail at 120. Simple as that. Goes back to 120, would probably look to jump out and revisit it. USU, uranium stock, 140 is the next breakout level on this one. And again, like I said on URRE, if these all start moving in tandem, then we've got some on the list. It would just be a matter of going down the list and looking for the laggards and jumping into those. PIP was a stock we jumped into in the chat room today. One of our other plays from the pop scan yesterday, SIGA, nice big breakout, almost hit first target. Almost a 20 cent, actually it was 23 cent gain on the day if you brought that 275 breakout. PIP owns 50% of the drugs that is driving SIGA higher. Nice chart breakout here. Let's see if we get some continuation tomorrow. If we do on volume or news, or we get a break on SIGA through the $3 level, this would be the sympathy play on that. Stops would be entry 132, 133 on this one. UTSI, strictly a chart break play, 145 could give, you know, 7 to 10 cent pop with 140 to 142 stops depending on your tolerance. The other uranium play on watch, DNN, it's actually had a really nice 3-day move here and could continue to see follow through to the upside. Be looking at that 160, 170 level next, and it did get a positive MACD cross. So the more the stocks like DNN and USU start to move, you really want to keep a pretty close watch on URRE and URG, the other laggard uranium plays. HOV, housing stock, 170 break, 190 would be the breakout on this one. On a 170 break, I would look to probably keep my stops at $1.60, $1.65, depending on the volume and probably the overall market. SOL, solar stocks doing very, very well today. The next breakout on this would be 180. This one actually looks pretty decent going into tomorrow, especially if the momentum we saw in the really cheapy solar stock spreads out to these other ones that got some big moves in mid-December. This one's through the 20-day exponential. Could give, you know, a decent move here over the next day or so. So definitely keep an eye on this one. And there's another solar stock to keep an eye on, STP. 245 break, we could be looking at a fast 25 cent, 40 cent move on this one. Definitely one to keep an eye on tomorrow. 245 entry, I would place my stops 238 to 240, just given the upside that this one could give. SSN, small little oil play, 230 break, 230, 233 would be the break. 250 is target on this one. An entry on a 230 break, I would probably place my stops 223, 225 tomorrow. And again, this might be a play if we see strength in some of the other oil plays like IVAN, etc., etc. Dry ships, shipper, 225 breakout, 50-day moving average is the target. 20-day exponential should act as pretty good support. SVNT, now this one looks really, really nice going into tomorrow. A 250 break on this one, even 246 should bring some nice buying into the stock. 50-day moving average looks to be the magnet on this one right now. Definitely one to place high on the watch list for tomorrow. Also with cocoa, especially if it gets followed through up to the 260 level. NEOP, there was quite a bit of chatter on this one today. 280 break. Not the best looking chart, and it does trade on Amex, which I really hate that index. 295 is really possible. I mean, this has been up multiple days in a row on pretty decent volume. SIGA, I mentioned that earlier with PIP, that $3 break. The next resistance level is 325. So if you're playing this one with a quarter or 10% position that we had from that breakout today, I would trail my stops on that remaining position right now to 285 plus. A break through 3 gives us 325, and a break through 3 and a move on it through 3. And PIP would be the sympathy play on that. And traders are finally looking to jump into those sympathy stocks. ROYL, Royal Energy, small oil play, 505 break gives 525 to 550. Really low float, but when this one starts to move, it really moves. So keep a really close eye on it tomorrow, especially if the energy plays are going. And last but not least, FORM, 525 break. Would be looking for a gap fill back to that mid-December tax sell-off around the 540, 550 area, and the indicators look pretty good going into this one going into tomorrow. An entry on a 525 break. 8-day moving average has been rock solid support, but that's giving it, 18-cent downside. I'd probably trail my stops 10 cents on this one, depending on how it opened tomorrow. So that is it for the Pop Scam plays going into tomorrow. If you've got any questions, feel free to send me an email, feedback@buysellshort.net or .com, and I will see you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Good night.